Brooklands Radio believes your health matters.
Well, in the studio with me this afternoon, I've got Gary and Olga. Now, Gary and Olga, you're the joint founders of the Alchemy of Sound.
Yes, that's right.
Good afternoon to you both.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us in.
Thank you.
No, it's lovely to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got into something that is still quite unusual out there, but we'll talk a bit more about that later. But how did you get into doing what you're doing now?
Well, working with sound is something I've been doing since 2011, and the reason that I got into it was I was co-hosting tours in Egypt, and the main chamber, the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, has a fantastic acoustics. And I heard about spontaneous healing as a result of these acoustics, and thought, well, if there's really something to sound and therapy, perhaps healing, then maybe universities would know something about it. Quickly found UCLA, Stanford, who I've been in touch with, and Princeton. All these kind of universities know a lot about sound and vibration and resonance, and that led us into organising these events, because the Gong's the best way of sharing the experience of the Great Pyramid without having to go to Egypt.
I know, it makes me want to go to Egypt, though. It's fascinating, isn't it, that I didn't realise that you had that background of being a sort of tour guide. Olga, how did you get involved?
So I was first a Reiki master, so very interested in healing, energy healing. And then I met Gary, and through Gary I learned about the sound, and I was very much interested in the science behind the sound. And as I love quantum physics, it was really appealing to me, and it all made sense, and I just didn't understand why more people didn't know about that. So it was quite an amazing thing for me.
I completely agree with you, because I absolutely love gong baths. So I think we should go on to talk about exactly what a sound bath or a gong bath is, because so many people out there just really don't know.
Well, I normally explain it works in a couple of different ways. So on a physical level, well, it's a large gong, as it's just smaller than a metre diameter, and it has a huge round range of sound frequency. So at the bottom of the gong, you get these very low sound frequencies that you can actually feel them coming through the floor. And those sound vibrations actually can pass straight through the body. They don't stop when they hit muscle or bone, which is why you can break up things like kidney stones and things with ultrasound. And the future is non-invasive surgery with sound. So that's what they're looking at the moment. So it can help with deep tension in the muscles. That's one level. The Evening Standard called it noisy meditation, which I think is a good way of summing it up. So what they see in the lab at UCLA using an EEG is that when you put into the sound bath experience with these kind of sustained sound frequencies, that the brain waves change to the delta and theta type, which is the same as somebody that's learnt to meditate very well over a long period of time. So quite often we can give people their first taste of that kind of meditation experience without the constant chattering voice. So it's something that, like, introducing people to a new side of themselves. So it's a really amazing, unique experience. We never promise any particular results, because we're all so different, and we have the emotional challenges of every day. Because you do, I mean, the only thing is you just need to be kind of comfortable laying down, and then see where it takes you.
Yeah, Olga, that's what I was going to say, actually. Maybe explain to the people out there what happens when they attend a gong bath.
So from a scientific point of view, or from emotional?
Well, a bit of both, and a bit of exactly what happens when they arrive.
Okay. So when people arrive, we ask them to lay down on the mats and cover themselves comfortably with blankets and put a pillow underneath the head. So it's a very relaxing experience. It looks like a very comforting, quiet space, usually dark, and you can actually fall asleep. Then we gently start playing the gong, and over time there are a few peaks of intensity, which usually most people find utterly fine. They'll help them to go deeper into the sound and experience. And in the end, it just slowly comes down gradually, and most people either feel very relaxed or fall asleep. And most people find it difficult to actually then come back very quickly, because it's as if you've been sleeping very deeply. Even an hour could be like 10 minutes. But it depends on each person's experience, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that people could fall asleep during that, but I know I have. It's so relaxing.
Yeah, in fact, I was at one of these events in America, and they found a particular frequency, and it was impossible to stay awake. It was just, I saw myself being pushed into sleep, so it can encourage that. You get these sort of deep vibrations quite often around the heart and things, and it's just so soothing, like an intense cat's purr on your chest kind of thing, and it just sort of encourages you to relax deeply.
What sort of conditions would you say? I know anybody can have this, and as I say, there's nothing in particular wrong with me, and I find it really beneficial. But what sorts of conditions could it really, really help?
Well, there's a wide range. I mean, we normally recommend it for just as de-stressing, because at a minimum we would expect somebody the muscles to feel a bit more relaxed, and perhaps they did manage to get into this space where they just listen to the sound and the thoughts either slow down or stop. So that's a kind of minimum we would hope for. Our most amazing result so far has been helping a stroke victim get the sensation back in his feet. Because one of the things that the gong does, and a lot of people will experience this, is it does cause involuntary twitches in the feet. We normally have the feet near the gong, and the sound, so you feel this kind of vibration, almost like tickling, but a bit calmer than a tickling speed. So quite often people's feet will twitch involuntarily, and I think that would mean it's going in sort of the nervous system. From Eastern perspective, yogic perspective, you'd say it's probably working on the meridian system, the energy system of the body. So I just focused on getting these sensations in the gentleman's feet, and 48 hours later he contacted his daughter and said that it was the first time he'd had the sensation back in his feet since a stroke, which had been 3 months. So that was beyond our expectations of what it could accomplish. And there's a whole range of things. So frozen shoulders, if you can find, because it's about finding the right frequency for that person. So that's why it's a bit hard to measure it consistently in the lab, because it can be different body to body. So if we get it right, then you can help people with these sort of deep muscular issues.
No, it's just incredible. Anyone who hasn't tried it out there, I really, really you've got to try it. You've got to try it. And I know with me, I find that if there's any sort of blocks anywhere, it almost clears your chakras out, so that all your senses are there and things start working properly in your life again.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is that now quite a large number of people that have come to us with certain conditions, how they've explained it was they felt the sound moving around their body, and it moved to the area where they felt there was an issue, and then it worked on that area. And this is people that have never done this kind of thing before, don't really have a sort of metaphysical background, because of course we're seeing hundreds of people now at our events, so we start to build up a picture of how people respond, and so that is quite a common feedback, so it's a very interesting one.
That's wonderful. Now, Gary or Olga, tell us, how can people get hold of you? How can they find out more about your events?
So our website is holistichealingtherapy.co.uk. Our meetup group is Alchemy of Sound, and we regularly run the events near Guildford, in Clarendon Wood, in Hampton and East Molesey as well, where we are on Sunday evenings tonight. So we'll be rushing off there after this. Okay, well, just anyone out there, as I say, just have a look at the website and the meetup group and get yourself along to try one, and I'm sure you will really, really enjoy it. Thank you very much indeed for coming in, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Brooklands Radio believes your health matters.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, why not keep up to date with the sound of Surrey by listening live at brooklandsradio.co.uk or through our free mobile app.